seen any of these shows in so long.
And also, when did wood blocks fall out of favor in
George
theme
Michael.
songs? Right? The wood blocks in those 80s theme songs? I don't know what the song is called.
Theme songs in general, kind of.
Yeah, that's true. They want to sell
went
more
down.
advertising, so they just have a title card and a little glissando or something. But Alyssa Milano and Tony Danza, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago and made no mention of it, by the way, are officially rebooting Who's the Boss. There's a channel you might have realized that used to be called IMDb TV, and Amazon bought it. And now it's called Freevee, and it's going to air on Freevee. So just one more channel. It's hard enough if you get a show on a major streamer because there's so many goddamn shows, right? You'll click on Netflix and you'll go, it'll suggest a show to you with people you know.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Either a show or a movie, and you go, I haven't seen any promotion for this or anything. It's hard enough getting people to pay attention to shows that are on channels you use, let alone doing a show. I mean, listen, actors want to work, so they'll take the gig. But Amazon's Freevee, so it'll show up in Prime, but it'll be under the Freevee banner. But Alyssa Milano and Tony Danza are officially rebooting Who's the Boss. Now, a notable absence here is one Judith Light. Where is Judith Light? I hope the show starts with her being killed. I think that a great way to start...
Tony Danza.
Angela, I'm the boss now. I stabbed you. Who's the boss? I have the answer.
They end up together at the end of that series, right?
I think, yeah, it was a will they, won't they for a long time, and but it's in modern day. It's 30 years after Who's the Boss, and Tony Danza and Alyssa, she's all grown up. I didn't realize that Who's the Boss ran for as many seasons. It was on TV for 8 seasons. The reboot is she's living back with her dad, but this time she's a single mom.
No.
I like Alyssa Milano. Boy, she had some movies in the mid-'90s that were very important to my... You know how Mary feels about the Backstreet Boys? Mm-hmm. Alyssa Milano was that for me.
What was she? Poison Ivy?
2.
Well, that was... Yeah, okay, because Drew Barrymore was Poison Ivy 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then Poison Ivy 3 was... Oh, what's her name? She was in My Name is Earl.
Okay.
And she's like the hot white trash lady.
She was in Joe Dirt?
Yeah.
Same girl?
Jamie Presley?
Jamie
Yeah.
Presley. That's the girl.
She looks like her Margot Robbie lookalike.
Yeah. She's like a little bit trashier, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Look like she smokes hella cigs.
Yeah.
Hella cigs.
That's how I always talk about like past Britney Spears and current Britney Spears. Like earlier Britney Spears, I'm like, that's before she started smoking all those cigarettes. And now I'm like, she still looks like the same chick, but just she smokes hella cigs. You could tell the difference.
Well, Alyssa Milano, again, like I said, there are shows that you don't even realize are on. Alyssa Milano has a show on Netflix called Brazen, where she is a mystery writer. It's kind of like a younger Murder, She Wrote. And so she currently has a show on Netflix.
I also like that show, Charmed. Not that I like the show. I like the cast.
I like the cast, too.
The cast was very hot.
Charmed was on I was clicking around. I had finished watching a movie on the flight back from Mexico, and I was just clicking around the satellite channels they had, and Charmed was on, and I had never seen that show before.
It's a bad show.
It's a terrible show.
But you got
Shannon
Rose
Doherty.
McGowan, Shannon Doherty, and
Holly Marie Combs.
And
Alyssa Milano.
And so those were all girls that I was like, I can work with this in my bedroom when I didn't have a computer in my room.
I can work with this. Mm-hmm. Alyssa Milano.
Oh, she's so hot.
Yeah, I think she's lovely. I mean, I don't recall... She was too young on Who's the Boss for me to go, oh. She was like 10 or 11 on that show. But, she's got a thing going on. Looks great. But that Amazon Freevee, it does have ads in it. So that's a little strange because you'll be watching a show forgetting that they stop for ads. Because they show Alf, they show the original Who's the Boss. Some other things over there, too. But, with all these other reboots going on, and again, a few weeks back, Tony Danza on the show And did he say anything to me about it? And I'm almost positive, maybe I edited it out when I asked him about the Who's the Boss remake. But I said, hi, Tony.
That's me, Alan. What's happening?
And then that was the end of the interview. And I was like, what happened? That was it. He only had time for 3 seconds with me. And so...
one of your better interviews, if I do say so myself.
That's me, Alan. What's happening?
Yeah, I thought that it ended up pretty well, too. But no, he's doing some song and dance thing.
Tony Danza? I didn't know that he did that.
Oh, yeah. He's
Song
a song
and
and dance
dance.
man.
He was playing out in Sandusky. Why is that a joke?
Sarcasm.
Oh, but he doesn't. He's a Renaissance man.
But we don't know if you actually know anything about
He's a
him.
song and dance guy.
Yeah,
I know that.
he was a boxer. That's where he got his fancy footwork from.
You're a boxer.
That's me, Alan. What's happening?
I'm a boxer.
You're a boxer.
You're a boxer. So the Who's the Boss reboot is coming.
Embrace of the Vampire. That was another good one.
Who's the Boss? Embrace of the Vampire? I don't remember
Well,
that
just
one.
Embrace of the Vampire.
Oh.
And it was a Alyssa Milano film.
I was going to say, what a weird take on vampire movies. Alyssa Milano and Who's the Boss? Well, listen, this dad in Highland Park, the dad of the Highland Park shooter, Robert Crimo III. How'd you like that? You share your name with 2 other people, and now one of them has sullied it forever as being a mass shooter. Robert Crimo III is the kid, and so the dad is Robert Crimo Jr. And as much as this guy tries to wash the blood off his hands, it's not really working so far. He is pretty much saying, hey, listen, just because I signed all the paperwork for my kid to get guns doesn't mean that we knew what was going to happen. We didn't have any idea. One of the local Chicago TV stations somehow got this guy to speak on the subject, and his take is basically, my son has good morals. Again, this is why these red flag laws don't do you much good if the parents are in complete denial on these things. 3 years ago, just to recap, the Highland Park cops come out because the kid's going bananas. He's got a history of suicide attempts, including an attempted suicide by machete.
Wow, you really want to go. That's like a Avicii way to go.
Or you don't really want to go and you're just trying to get some attention. Either way, the parents go, it's all good. A few months after that, the cops are out at the house again because the kid says he's going to kill everyone in his family, and he's hoarding 16 knives and a dagger and a sword and a machete. And then they find he's on one of these, he's on some chat site, and he's got a sex doll in his closet, and he's posting photos of him hanging the sex doll. And then he's posting like, Jews are fire retardant and Asians should be gassed.
Sheesh.
And despite all that, the dad goes, I'll fill out that gun application paperwork for you, son.
I didn't think he was going to use it.
What? No.
He seriously contemplated using the firearm he had in his vehicle to commit another shooting.
This as we learn more about the 7 people who lost their lives because he was under 21, despite a prior suicide attempt and alleged threats to kill his family.
There is ongoing criminal prosecution and criminal investigation, issues of culpability, liability, who may have responsibility.
Overnight, the father...
Culpability and liability. All the abilities.
And responsibility.
Culp, liar.
Speaking to ABC News.
I love my son, but it's devastating to everyone involved.
Claiming he was unaware of some of those incidents when he sponsored the application.
I filled out the consent form to allow my son to go through the process. They do background checks.
I wasn't getting the impression that the parents are divorced. Because what the dad is mainly saying is, I didn't know any of this stuff going on with my son. So either this dude is supremely checked out, and it's not hard. You know, back in the day, it was harder to figure out what your kids were doing. You know, you watch a show like Stranger Things, there's no cell phones, there's no internet.
Yeah, kids are just out.
They're
doing
out.
things.
They're on their bikes, and the parents are chasing
Fighting
them.
demons, and the parents are like, just be home by dinner.
Yeah. The parents are chasing them to the end of the driveway and going, come back. No one gets in the car to chase them, right? Now, kids like that, they're just posting everything online. So if you had no clue that your kid was doing this, because I don't think the parents are divorced, unless I missed that, and the dad's like checked out, doesn't know what's going on.
Whatever that entails.
His son, 21-year-old Robert Crimo, waking up behind bars this morning, denied bail after prosecutors say he confessed to the Highland Park massacre that left 7 people dead and more than 30 injured.
This has taken us by complete surprise. 3 days before the 4th, my wife had asked him, hey, do you have any plans for the 4th? And he simply said no.
I mean, he said no. We said, do you have any plans for the 4th? And he said no.
So wait, he's a liar too?
What were we supposed to... Yeah. Well, you know, the hypocrisy is the worst part.
No, of course.
Norm Macdonald on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
And new details about the deadly rampage after the suspect's alleged confession. Authorities saying he considered carrying out a second attack on another celebration, driving from Highland Park to Madison, Wisconsin.
Is this reporter half asleep, by the way? What's going on with this guy?
I don't know.
Get this guy some coffee.
Armed with another firearm and 60 rounds of ammunition.
He seriously contemplated using the firearm he had in his vehicle to commit another shooting.
This as we learn more about the 7 people who lost their lives. Eduardo Uvaldo, who was going to turn 70 this week after returning from a Paris trip with his wife to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary.
He was just the perfect father, perfect...
Dude gets back from Paris to celebrate his wedding anniversary and comes back and goes, honey, you know what'll really top off that trip to France? A parade in downtown Highland Park.
Perfect grandfather, perfect great-grandfather, and perfect father-in-law.
And this 2-year-old boy, Aiden, rescued from the chaos, pulled from underneath his parents' bodies after they were killed in the massacre. Our Stephanie Ramos is speaking with Lauren Silva about those terrifying moments.
He just kept saying it. It's not.
Well, anyway, the dad is basically like, look, we didn't know anything was going on with this kid. We were taken completely by surprise. Do you have any plans for the 4th? And he said no. Nah. Again, nobody can predict the future. But there are breadcrumbs to be seen here. And so you can tell just listening to the dad's voice. This guy is crapping his pants.
He's going to jail.
Well, I don't know he's going to jail.
How could
but
he not? He
gave
him the gun.
Huh?
He signed off on him getting the gun. How can that not be?
I don't know how that'll play out. There's a billion ways you can get out of stuff like that. I mean, there's, but, I mentioned yesterday, you think about that kid in Oxford, Michigan, who shot up his school. They indicted the parents because they're like, everything was in front of you to know that this was going to happen. The kid had like a gun in his bag, and you guys did, a little kid. So, I don't know how checked out, and again, it's also disingenuous to say that parents should know every single thing their kid's doing. But this is a case where, like, you could have picked up on a couple of things. Let's say the internet wasn't even a thing. You had the cops out to your house on 3 separate occasions. Because 1, your kid was going to kill himself with a machete. 2, he said he was going to kill everybody else. Yeah, so forget like being very online. Holy cow. The guy's like, they do background checks. I figured... You need a background check when your kid's got a collection. He's like, listen, my kid collected knives. When I was a kid, I collected baseball cards. Like, that's what the guy said. When I was a kid, I collected baseball cards. He just had a collection. Yeah, but you weren't looking to kill anybody with your baseball card collection.
You don't know that? Maybe he's one of those, like, what's that guy's name? Ace?
Gambit in the X-Men? Yeah. I will slice your throat with a Ricky Henderson rookie card.
Well, Gambit still had a power, like an energy surge that went into the card that would kill.
No, it was just the cards.
No.
By the way, this dad, say what you want, Robert Crimo Jr., he's got a great rack.
He's got some real creamers.
He really does.
Crimo's
creamers. Yeah. He said he had been talking to his son about they were talking about that mall shooting in Denmark. And his son was like, yeah, that guy's an idiot. So the dad's like, he didn't sound to me like a guy who was... It's like, bro, what are you looking for or not looking for? I'm in shock because, just visually, the kid couldn't look weirder. He looks like Sam Eagle from The Muppet Show. I'm like, how, couldn't look stranger.
I thought he looked like Jigsaw.
So I don't know what's going to happen to the dad or the mom. But, there were plenty of things along the way. The knives were just a collection. I used to collect coins and baseball cards. So the dad's already kind of throwing the kid under the bus. He's like, hey, everything's on. He bought everything. It's all registered to him. I don't know what you want me to do about it. He said when the kid was making his comments that brought the police out to the house, they were just childish outbursts. If my kid, and again, a lot of people took issue with me yesterday calling this guy a kid because he's 21. That's a completely fair point. Mm-hmm. He is 21 years old. He's not a kid. But I think a lot of these parents, at least this guy, and I don't know, obviously I can't read that dude's mind, but the dad seems like he was taking the perspective of like, well, nothing I can do about it. Maybe if I get him a gun, he won't kill me with a machete. I don't know. Yeah. But in so many of these types of situations, when they do a little bit of digging, they'll find out that, like, the mom gave the kid a gun or, just ignoring all these things.
She told him no and the dad did
Yeah, because
anyway.
they're so in denial about their kid.
Well, anybody would be. You don't want to face that fact about your kid.
Yeah, but if your kid does something like...
I get it. No, I get what you're saying.
Like,
the red flags were there, but...
There have been moments when my kids have acted out in certain ways, and we addressed it and, put them in therapy, things like that. That's, that doesn't seem to be the course they took.
Guns!
Of course, if you're Scott Adams, you might just have to kill your kid. You know who Scott Adams is? Every time I see Dilbert trending, it's never for a Dilbert cartoon. This guy's Scott Adams, who is like a big MAGA guy or whatever, big Trump fan. He's the artist that does the Dilbert comic strip. And so anytime you see Dilbert trending, it's because Scott Adams has said something weird. And Scott Adams lost his stepson a couple of years ago to drug overdose. And so Scott Adams tweets this thread that's like, there's nothing you can do for a kid that's an addict. There's nothing you can do. There's only two options. You can murder your own son or you can watch him die. Oh. And so he did like a podcast after this Twitter thread. And a lot of people were giving him a hard time because obviously those aren't your only two options.
No, that's it.
But again, it wasn't his son, but it was his stepson, and he lost his 18-year-old stepson died a few years ago. And he's like, tough love won't do anything. Rehab won't do anything. And so he's like, there's no other option. Well, actually, he had like an old George Carlin idea that he's brought back.
I think the people who can't be fixed have to be separated from society, but not in jail necessarily. Find some camping ground somewhere and just say, look, you don't have to get off drugs, but you can't live with other people, except other people like you. So we're going to put you in this place where we can make sure no drugs get in, but it's not jail. Right? There's some kind of a life. You might be living in a tent, but a nice one. You're not suffering. And just make them live in the forest with other people who can't live in society. They have to be separated from the rest of us.
I mean, listen, people grieve in different ways, right? I mean, I believe what he's describing used to be called concentration camps, but nevertheless, that's his approach to it.
A nice tent, though.
No, it's
Just a nice tent.
I mean, you're not going to be suffering. You're going to,
Good size, nice tent.
There are all kinds of people there are plenty of people who, our own Mary Santora is a perfect case study, right? Who stay sober. They stay clean. Hers is alcohol. That's different than narcotics, obviously. And this was Scott Adams' experience. For as much as people don't like this guy or like his opinions, and I consider myself among those people, but he's coming at it from his perspective of, he's like, look, when you have a drug addict in your house, It's like people saying, you've got to live with someone who might kill you or steal all your stuff.
Well,
So the perspective he's coming from was, now he's applying it to all this other stuff. We've got a dangerous young man problem in this country, which is absolutely true. But his take on it really blew people's skirts up.
To a certain degree, he is correct. Addicts are going to steal from you. Like there's things that come with living with someone like that while they're in active addiction. They're going to lie. They're going to steal.
Right.
Those are things that you can almost guarantee are going to happen depending on the severity of their addiction. Should we all live in the woods? I don't think that's fair.
What I thought was weird was, if you're going to make everybody live in the woods, why would you say we're going to put you somewhere where you can't get drugs? You'd think you'd put them all somewhere, and then they can do all the drugs they want.
And then you got to
fly in the
then
drugs.
You got to provide them with drugs. And
now we're talking
also,
The Wire season 3.
If we're just people that want to live, like sitting in meetings today, I was like, living in the woods wouldn't be so bad.
Bill, we've got a digital woods meeting tomorrow morning at 11 a.m.
The ways we have to constantly market and stuff like I love this aspect of what I do. I was
just gonna say your job's not that hard.
No, I love all this part. All the other stuff.
You go to one meeting what?
Mary,
every 3 or 4 months?
Mary,
okay,
please.
I just don't like it.
Asking you a goddamn thing.
You weren't in that meeting,
right?
We were.
Bill and I were.
And it's not about the meeting. It's about all the stuff to just constantly try and market yourself and the radio stations and everything to people. And you're just like, I just want to be funny.
This job is much different than it has been over the years. That's right.
And so you go, do I want to keep doing this, or maybe just go be
live in the woods
person?
Yeah.
And like I said on this show before, if I wasn't doing this, just me and dogs out in the country. That's my my next step. Maybe do this for 10 more years and then just take care of dogs.
Bill of the Woods in a decade. Okay, I got a break. I will have what for you? Ooh, tickets. If you want to go see Static X, they were supposed to be here last spring. They postponed the tour for a full year, so March of next year. If you want to see Static X, they're going to do the House of Blues. So all those tickets for you right after the break. And then 4:30, next chance for you to grab some money, $1,000 for you to go fuel yourself.